Hi everyone, this is Daniel from tradingindicators.com and I have exciting news for you. We have just released version 2.0 of our new SuperTrend Bulls Eye indicator, and this is a game-changing update which will have a huge impact on your trading. This new version, we have created a true all-in-one indicator. It contains all the awesome features of the original SuperTrend indicator, but on top of this, we have added a whole suite of amazing new features, such as auto-optimization. No more manually toying around with the parameters. SuperTrend Bulls Eye will find the best settings for you, which will give you the most profitable signals. On top of this, we have added a next-generation scanning feature, which will not only detect symbols of buy and sell signals, but will find the symbols which have the most profitable signals. But there's more. Thanks to the newly integrated real-time statistics, the indicator will show you right on the chart how it is performing and what you can expect from the signals. All these are groundbreaking new features, and I promise you that they will make a huge impact on your trading. So please stay with me during this short presentation.
So probably most of you have already heard about the SuperTrend indicator. It's a very popular indicator. It's available for most platforms out there. And the author, Olivier Seban, who is a French author and a French trader, developed this indicator roughly 15 years ago. And in fact, he described the indicator in his book, Tout le monde mérite d'être riche, which basically means that everybody deserves to be rich. And I guess he lived by this mantra because the myth says that he became a millionaire at the age of 32, and at the age of 35, he retired trading. So this book is about trading and how to become a profitable trader. And one of the key contributions of Olivier Seban was that SuperTrend indicator. It is one of the most influential trend following indicators out there. Again, as I said, available for most trading platforms. And what this indicator allows you to do is to find early on trend reversals. And trend reversals are identified by buy or sell signals on the chart. The indicator comes with what's called a trading stop, which is tightened as price moves in the desired direction. And it is what is called an always in the market indicator, or in other words, a stop and reverse indicator. And what this means, we'll discover together right now. So let's have a look at this chart, which is an S&P E-mini chart, 50 minutes time frame. And applied to this chart is the traditional SuperTrend indicator. And what you can see here are these small triangles, green triangles for long entries and red triangles for short entries. And the way this indicator works is that whenever the green line, which is below here, which is a trading stop for long trades, is broken to the downside, which we have here, a short signal is entered. From that point on, we are short. Now we're going to continue to be short until eventually the price closes above this red line. And when this happens, we're going long. And this alternates on and on and on. This is why this indicator is also called an always in the market indicator, because you're either long or short, but basically you're never flat. And this is the philosophy of SuperTrend, that you're always in the market, either long or short, and you can take advantage of both types of markets. Now, how does this indicator work internally? So let's have a closer look. So here we have the buy signals, the sell signals. Up here, this is our trading stop for long trades, and here the trading stop for short trades. All right, so a trend reversal or a signal in the opposite direction occurs whenever the trading stop is broken. The trading stop is actually a calculation and is based on two parameters. Parameter one is the ATR period, where ATR stands for average true range, which basically calculates the average volatility of the symbol. And then the second parameter is what's called the multiplier, which is used to define the distance of the trading stop. So what we'll do, we take the ATR and multiply it with this multiplier here, and we add this to price. And the result of this gives us our trailing stop. So as price moves up, for example, so price goes, if you're long, price goes in our direction, the direction that we want it to go, price goes up. And as a result of this, because the trading stop is always a function of the price, the trading stop will also be tightened. It will be increased as price goes up. Or conversely, if we are short and price goes down, the trading stop will also go down at the same time, therefore locking in profits as price develops in the direction that we want it to go. So that's pretty much straightforward. And this indicator is, as I said, available on all major platforms. Strangely, it is not out of the box available for NinjaTrader. But if you are interested, you can get SuperTrend, the original SuperTrend, on our online store for NinjaTrader as well. Now, this is the original SuperTrend, and it has these two parameters. But there's still one problem with it. And the problem is, how do we know what are the best settings for this ATR period parameter and for this multiplier parameter? Because these are different from symbol to symbol. These are different from time frame to time frame. So how do we know what are the best settings? So typically you don't know. It's up for guesswork. You may have an intuition, or you may just stick with one set of parameters across the board. But that's really not the ideal way to go, because there is a best setting. Now, we have developed a solution for this. In fact, we have developed an intelligent version of SuperTrend, which we call SuperTrend Bulls Eye, now in generation 2.0, which will auto-optimize these two parameters for you. So auto-optimization means it will find the best settings for the ATR period parameter and for the multiplier parameter for you. And depending on the symbol you're working off, and depending on the time frame you're working off, these settings will be different, and they will always be chosen to yield the most profitable outcome. So how does SuperTrend Bulls Eye do this? Well, it looks at historical price action, and based off the history of price, it will look at which settings would have given us the best outcome. And these settings, these optimized settings, will then be used moving forward. Okay, so this is what we call the auto optimization feature of SuperTrend Bulls Eye. On top of this, we have also integrated into this new version of SuperTrend a display of what you can expect in terms of performance. So on your chart, right on your chart, you will see what was the historical profit factor. What was the average trade duration of the signals being generated by this indicator? How many trades were taken into account, and what was the win rate of these trades? All very critical information to evaluate the performance of this indicator. And you may ask yourself right now, so why don't we display a dollar amount? How much dollar we would have made? We have chosen not to do this purposefully because this always depends on your position size. Now, the more you risk, the bigger your position size, the bigger your dollar amount will be, or the bigger the loss might be. Instead, we have decided to use the profit factor. So if you know what profit factor is, it is a metric which indicates to you, independent of the position size, how profitable, historically speaking, the trading system is behaving. And one can say that a profit factor above 1 indicates a profitable system. If it's above 1.5, it's very profitable, and the higher, the better. The profit factor below 1 indicates a non-profitable system. In addition to this, we have also integrated a new trading style into SuperTrend. Originally, it is a stop and reverse indicator. Basically, that means whenever you get stopped out, you will reverse your position. Whenever you're long and you get stopped out, you go short. Whenever you're short and get stopped out, you go long again. Now, this may not suit everyone. For example, you might not be interested in going short at all, or you are not interested in being in the market all the time. This is why we have integrated into this indicator a second trading style, which we call percent trailing. This allows you to define a percent-based trading stop for a SuperTrend. Whenever you get stopped out for this percent-based trading stop, you actually go flat. You do not reverse the position. And then you're flat until an entry signal occurs again, and so forth. So you stay in the trade until you are stopped out based on your percent-based trading stop. Then you go flat and you wait for a new entry signal of SuperTrend to enter into the market again. Now, let's quickly have a look at how SuperTrend Bulls Eye looks on the chart. We have white triangles for short entries and the bluish triangles for long entries. Once you're in a long trade, the white line is your trading stop. And once you're in a short trade, the blue line is in your trailing stop. So far, so good. Looks pretty much like the regular super trend. Now, what's new is that we have auto-optimized the ATR period and the multiplier parameter for you. How does this work? Well, there's an auto-optimization function built into the indicator. And what you can see here on the top right of the chart, you can see which parameters for these two variables, 3 for the multiplier in this case, and 30 for the ATR period have been chosen in this example. And the way the indicator does this is basically it tries out all combinations of these two parameters to find out which one has worked the best. And this set of parameters, this combination of parameters is then used to calculate these entry signals. On top of this, using these two parameters, we showed to you what is the profit factor, historically speaking, in this case 2.51, which is highly profitable. How many trades were taken into account? In this case, 10 trades, 5 to the long side and 5 to the short side. And what was the average duration for these trades? In this case, 46.2 bars. And in addition to this, we also show you when did the optimization period start, which you can see here as start date. Of course, all of these can be configured in the parameters and the settings of the indicator. Okay, but there's one more thing that we've built into this indicator, which we call third generation spearhead scanning. Using this indicator on one symbol is one thing, which is nice, it's great. But wouldn't it be better if you could identify out of a whole pool of symbols, which of them is the most profitable one to use for SuperTrend Bulls Eye? And on top of this, wouldn't it have been even better if you could use the optimized parameters of SuperTrend Bulls Eye to identify the most profitable symbols? This is really a game changer. This has not been developed before ever, to the best of my knowledge. I believe this is a feature which will really allow you to trade only when the odds are stacked in your favor. So we call this third generation spearhead scanning. What do I mean by this? So first generation scanning is probably the one type of scanning that you're already using. You use a scanner in ModifWave or NinjaTrader or somewhere else to scan for entry or exit signals. No idea whether these signals are any profitable or have been profitable in the past. You just scan for entry or exit signals. That's it. So that's generation 1 scan. You just scan for these signals. Generation 2 is I want to scan for signals which have been proven to be profitable in the past. Okay, that's already one step further. So now we're not only considering any symbols, any signals, but only the signals which have been proven to be profitable. But we can even push it one step further. This is what we call generation 3 spearhead scanning. Here, we only scan for signals which have been optimized and are highly profitable. So it's a combination of these two things. We have optimized the parameters for the symbol, and we've picked the best symbol to trade on. This is what we call generation 3 spearhead scanning. And this is really a tool which will allow you to put all the odds in your favor. And how this works in live trading, on live charting, will be shown to you now by Nicola.
Okay, so as Daniel mentioned, SuperTrend Bulls Eye is really an improvement on the original SuperTrend, and it includes some useful features. So of course, SuperTrend Bulls Eye contains classic SuperTrend within it. And I'd just like to take a quick look at the parameters. And by the way, this is MotiveWave platform that I've got SuperTrend Bulls Eye applied on, the 1-minute chart for Twitter. And looking in the settings here, we see we have the multiplier for the trailing stop and the ATR period for the trailing stop, as well as a trail stop percentage parameter for the percent trailing style that we added in, as Daniel mentioned. And up in the top right corner here, we see the results panel. And it's a lot like IET. It shows statistics, as Daniel's already said, for the trades. And we're able to set a look back period for the calculation of these statistics. So in this case, I've set my look back period to 500 bars. We see from the current bar, 500 bars back, where the plotting started. The result panel is showing results for these signals that have already been taken. We see we've had total 11 completed trades, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and the 12th hasn't closed yet. So those are very useful information. But the big thing with SuperTrend Bulls Eye, and I'd just like to actually draw attention to, as we adjust the settings, I change the multiplier to 2, period to 17, we can see the results panel update real time with the new statistics for the configuration we've now inputted. But the really interesting thing with SuperTrend Bulls Eye is the ability to automatically find the best settings, right? And the way to do this is really just a click of a button. We have this optimize button right here. And if we keep our eye on the results panel, we see we had a multiplier of 2, a period of 17, and our profit factor is 0.8 over the look back period. And when I click optimize, get a little optimizing note there, and it found a better set of parameters, the best possible it could find, which gave us a profit factor of 1.62. I put the period to 45, the multiplier to 2.5, and we can see now that it automatically actually applied those settings itself to the study. So we didn't have to look at that, input it ourselves. Now in MotiveWave, we have that button to click optimize whenever we want to optimize. If I want to optimize over 1,500 bars, I can do that again. We'll get the best possible settings for that look back. But we can also click automatically optimize parameters. And this is handy, just an extra feature. So whenever you change anything in the study and click update, the settings will always be optimized automatically. And just like any optimizer, a generic optimizer, in your optimizer inputs here in the settings, you're able to set the kind of limitations of the combinations of settings that the study tests to find the best configuration. So for your multiplier input, your ATR period input, and trailing stop input, if you're using a trail stop percent trailing style, you're able to set the start and end values and the increments, so just like a normal optimizer. So this is all very handy. And I'd just like to draw quick attention. Oh, and as you're running through the trading day, just to put this into perspective, let's say we optimize at the beginning of the day, and then come 10:30, 10:45, we want to again optimize to see, is this still the best configuration for the look back? Again, easily you just click optimize and you'll find the new best settings if they've changed. For MotiveWave, we have something called the Strategy Builder, and it's a tool that basically allows you to build your own automated strategies, and it allows you to do something like automatically trade the SuperTrend Bulls Eye indicator. But the cool thing that we've set up with SuperTrend Bulls Eye is that not only can you create an automated strategy, but whenever you want, you can click optimize and the strategy will update and it'll trade with the new configurations automatically, which is extremely handy. So just quick example here. Here, I just have a simple strategy that's trading the indicator, and I'm running this in kind of a simulated trading mode. We see as a buy signal comes in, the strategy goes long, and sell signal, we go short. But let's say at some point during the trading day, I wanted to open up the settings for Bullseye and re-optimize to find new settings. The configuration's now changed. As I let the trading day progress, the strategy will automatically kind of update itself so that it recognizes these new signals. So that was something that took a little while to get working, but I think it's a very handy feature. But now on to really the awesome thing about SuperTrend Bulls Eye is this next generation kind of scan. And in MotiveWave, you're able to create scans and check the values for indicators and create thresholds or requirements, just like any other platform, to find kind of the conditions you'd like. But with SuperTrend Bulls Eye, what we're now able to do is find combinations of symbols and settings that give the highest profit factor. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to create an example scan and create a new one right here. And essentially what we'll do is we'll call this SuperTrend Bulls Eye profit factor greater than 3. I'll call it 3. And basically what we're going to do is I'm going to look over a watch list I have of 18 symbols from NASDAQ on the 15-minute. And I want to find SuperTrend Bulls Eye. I want to find the symbols where SuperTrend Bulls Eye has optimized such that the profit factor is at least 3.0, which is extremely high. So to set this up, I'll open up SuperTrend Bulls Eye, configure for usage in the scanner. tell it to optimize my parameters. We'll see we're optimizing over a 500 bar look back. Okay. And I'll make sure the scanner has enough bars to calculate everything. And now here's the cool part where I'm now able to say, I want my criteria to be such that the profit factor is greater than 3. And I'll click finish. And now I can start this scan. And if any, it's going to tell us the symbols which have a profit factor greater than 3. With any luck, we'll have some. Okay, we have Netflix here. And when I click Netflix, I'll open up the chart. And as I can see, it's given me a configuration. It's already optimized itself, which has a profit factor of 5.69 on this chart for the last 500 bars on the 15-minute. It's extremely high. And this is really handy because with any other indicator, you're able to scan, but you have to input the parameters, right? You don't know what the best parameters are. So I already know a bunch of symbols that have great profit factors here, 5.62, 5.18. And if you look, they all have different settings because they've optimized themselves, 2.5 and 10, 2.5 and 5. So this is a very handy feature. And this is kind of that next generation of scanning that Daniel was talking about. And to compound this capacity, another thing that you're able to do is, for example, let's say not only do we want to find symbols that have a 3.0 or higher profit factor, but let's say we want to find symbols that have 3.0 profit factor and there's a buy signal. So I would come in here and click buy. I want a buy signal, so one that has a value greater than 0. And I'll say, if there was a buy signal in the last 10 bars and the profit factor is greater than 3, then alert me of this symbol. So I'll scan for these opportunities. Okay. So for example, WYNN, here we've got a profit factor of 4.62 with these settings, and we just had a buy signal. So with any luck, that would again be a profitable long. And it's really a powerful tool to help you find good signals with kind of a proven track record, a high profit factor. It makes it really easy and handy to scan. And I'm going to hop on over now to NinjaTrader just to show how you can do the same type of thing in NinjaTrader. So here is SuperTrend Bulls Eye in NinjaTrader. It looks much the same. The result panel is a lot smaller here, but you can configure that, the font size and all. And the way to do these scans in NinjaTrader is just as simple. You want to open up a market analyzer window like so, and select some instruments you want to scan. I have a little watch list set up here with 10 symbols. And now you need to create your own column. So you right click, go to columns, and we would hop down to, we want to look at an indicator, double click on indicator, and we select our indicator of choice, trading indicators, SuperTrend Bulls Eye. And then we'll set up our settings. So I want to optimize, let's say on the last 500 bars. And the plot I want to look at in my scan is the profit factor. So I'll select profit factor here, and I'm really doing the simplest possible kind of scan. So what this is going to do now, when I click OK, it's going to add a new column to my market analyzer, and it's going to calculate the profit factor, or it's going to show me the profit factor for the optimized application of this study to all these symbols. So on each of these symbols, not only is it giving me the profit factor when SuperTrend Bulls Eye is applied to that chart, but it's giving me the optimized one. It's doing the optimization behind the scenes. So I'll know that I'll always have the best settings. So here on BAC, it's telling me, hey, you have a 5.56 profit factor on this chart on the 1 minute. So with any luck, I'm going to match my settings in SuperTrend Bulls Eye to the scan. I believe I had a 500 bar look back. Yes. And if I go over to BAC, the symbol, we'll see we have a 5.56 profit factor. So that was a good tell from that scan. And you can really see just how useful this is. It speeds things up and it helps you find and single out, really good symbols to be trading on. And that about wraps it up for me. I just want to make one last point that you can really increase the look back to something very large if this looked like it was too short for you. So here we have kind of to the end of the chart here, but you can go very far back with your look backs instead of just having to increase your sample size there to get more trades in your statistics. And that's all for me, Daniel.
Great. Thanks, Nicola, for demoing these awesome new features of SuperTrend Bulls Eye. As you can see, SuperTrend Bulls Eye is really a significant improvement over the original SuperTrend indicator. It not only finds the best and most profitable settings for you, but it also allows you to scan for symbols where SuperTrend is working particularly well. This alone can make a huge impact on your trading, as it will allow you to trade when the odds are stacked in your favor. Whether you are a day trader, swing trader or investor, SuperTrend Bulls Eye will find useful and proven signals for you. So I hope you found this presentation useful, that it sparked your interest in this great tool.